for emotional reasons. We are all connected with the freedom struggle in Bangladesh, and even now, people of West Bengal are emotionally connected with the so-called Shahbag uprising against fundamentalists. But we are a
point, Ms. Nagi, if I have to bring you here, Bengal is talking about Bangladesh, Tamil Nadu is talking about Sri Lanka, Kashmir definitely about Pakistan.
Say that we should make a distinction between emotive and economic issues.
Okay, emotive and economic issues, but can we really draw an analogy between all these three states talking about these three separate countries?
To the extent, yes. Let's take this Teesta waters, because he's right that the state government should have been taken on board, and I'm sure they would have been taken on board to some extent or the other. But the point I want to make here is that our Prime Minister is going to Bangladesh, and Mamata Banerjee thumbs her nose at that point. With what face is the Prime Minister then going to Bangladesh? That institution of Prime Minister and the personality of the Prime Minister has been virtually decimated by the Chief Minister on the state on the ground that there is an imbalance in the Teesta water redistribution or whatever. So when you have to balance out the interests of the state and the centre, there's a big question mark on what should be, what
every citizen of this country would want to know, that why is it that our parliamentarians don't really work? Why do we see repeated adjournments in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha as well?
See, we have in front of us a glorious tradition, precedents, etiquettes and manners codified and reminded in between through bulletins.
And through resolutions also.
Yes, and it's everywhere. And those members who have studied British constitutional history, they also are reminded, or they cannot act. But what is happening now is, according to me, is a reflection of the society, the unrest in the society, or the kind of political parties the people have voted to parliament. See, I have even earlier discussed, during the discussions conducted in this same forum, has pointed out this aspect. 122 crores people in the country, they have got 122 crores of problems also, and their representatives in the parliament, the honorable members of parliament, if they are going to shout and present their issues in the parliament, then what can be called to such a situation? Every minute of the parliament is pre-discussed, decided between the parties. The time is allotted. Every question hour, 0 hour, discussions, papers laid on the table, etc., etc. Every political parties know, and their responsible members also should know all this. Even then, this kind of interruptions, I cannot agree even 1%, this kind of interruptions.
Okay, so you're saying
people are watching this and they are criticizing it. It has created such a bad name for the Indian Parliament.
Okay, what is it that we should expect from our parliamentarians, and what reasons would you cite for the falling down of parliamentary standards?
I don't think that there is a very sharp decline or falling down of standards. Of course, when things are coming in this way, because earlier at the even in the, I think in the first time in the history, what happened at that time of that rape incident happened in Delhi. I was there in that race in the hills. How people are coming, because it's a cross section. The effect of the total situation in the country is reflecting in the parliament also. But we have to condemn that. We have to do maximum deliberation in the house.
We should do maximum deliberation, but only when MPs decide to work. And Mr. Roy, the government is always reactive, but is never proactive. And one issue, as Mr. Balugopal is also saying, that we have to be what you call, focus more on political management, on floor management, how to bring in the parties together on important issues, to tell them that to function properly, and especially in the question hour, because if you don't allow the other MPs to ask questions, it's their breach of privilege. So what is it that is leading to, when I say falling down of parliamentary standards, people who are looking up to you are not very happy with your performance? So what is it that is leading to, the current state?
No, I think this has to do with healthy conventions, and for which the leader of the house or the Prime Minister has to give lead. I first came to Lok Sabha in 1977. In our time, question hour was considered sacrosanct. Whatever disruption took place from 12 o'clock, that is 0 hour. I came back after a long hiatus in 2009. I found that question hour is no longer sacrosanct. All the troubles take place. Once Pranab Mukherjee told me that it costs the government sometimes 2 crores of rupees.
That is true.
To get answer to a single question. They have to write to all the state governments, they have to collect all the facts. And then I was a minister. I discovered how much work goes on in the ministry to answer one question. Then like that, 2 people creating trouble, this adjourned till 12 o'clock. Then again he will adjourn till 2 o'clock. Then he will adjourn till the next morning. So once you have disrupted, you have got the attention of the press or whatever, why don't you see, I saw in this house, I am now in the opposition, earlier I was in the government. Samajwadi Party disrupted the house 3 days continuously on issue of one statement by Beni Prasad Verma, which was made outside the house, not inside the house. All right, they protested once. Mulayam Singh Yadav is a respected man. The Parliamentary Affairs Minister expressed regret. Even after that, they said, no, aaj kaam nahi hoga. Now, there is a bill, small bill, pending from our state. It is regarding conversion of one university into a National Institute of Science and Engineering. All the students, all the ex-students, they are speaking to me.
Right.
But ultimately that bill could not.
In fact, there are several.
It takes half an hour to pass the bill.
True.
But we could not do it.
Right.
So, our party also, generally Trinamool Congress, we have not taken to disrupting the house. Today, our people did take part in demonstration. But when the chairman, acting chairman, Mr. Chakko, he said that you go back to your seats, I'll give you a chance to speak. Then they, all the Trinamool Congress, just one thing that I finish. But 2 things. One, Mr. Balgopal mentioned, very important. He said the Prime Minister or the leader of the house has a duty. Jawaharlal Nehru used to write see his files inside the Lok Sabha. He was always available. So that makes a difference. Now, this criminal law amendment bill passed.
Right, I'll come back to you, Mr. Roy. It's now time for me to take a short break. So the onus is on the Prime Minister, the Leader of the House, and the Parliamentary Affairs Minister to ensure that Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha functions properly. And if I have to give you an idea of bills which are pending in the Parliament, several important bills related to food security, insurance, pension are still pending in the Parliament. We were hoping this will be passed in the first phase of the budget session, but only 2 bills have been passed so far. These bills are related to women harassment and criminal law amendment bill. And it's now time for me to take a short break. In our final segment, we'll discuss more on this. Stay tuned.
Please go back! Please go back!
Faith of the public in the system, in the whole system of parliamentary democracy. Do you miss the sincerity which people should have, which MPs should have? And you say that most of these MPs are not even aware of the bills which are being passed. The sincerity is missing?
Well, there's a kind of laziness that has seeped into some MPs, and I hope that will change with the number of educated people coming into the picture. And there are serious MPs also who do their homework, but their effort gets diluted and they're not allowed to make their point because of the disruptions that are taking place. I'd say there are a large number of MPs who want discussions, but because of the because of the way a handful of MPs act, this gets overshadowed. The second point I'd like to make is that yes, the faith of the people in Parliament gets severely dented. If you see a whole line of school children coming to the Lok Sabha gallery or the Rajya Sabha gallery to see what is happening in Parliament, and you see their shell-shocked faces, you know, when they see the way the MPs are shouting, the way they are attacking each other, and sometimes, you know, when there's also physical thing by throwing papers and stuff like that. So that does affect the perception.
Okay, that does affect.
So there was this perception about the political class that is now seeping into political institutions,
Okay.
and I think it has to be stemmed.
Okay, it has to be stemmed. Final comments, Professor Roy. Disruptions are a disease. Do you think this disease is curable?
I think this disease is curable. It has to be cured through continuous consultation between the government and the opposition parties. I believe that the Speaker, the Prime Minister, the Parliamentary Affairs Minister must make it a regular habit, regular practice to take everybody on board, and the speakers must ultimately decide that House is meant to function. Speaker has to act, and the Prime Minister and the Parliamentary Affairs Minister must continuously interact with people.
Okay, Mr. Balgopal, final comments from you. Speaker has a bigger role to play in the functioning of Parliament. Final comments from you. Yeah.
Surely, Speaker has a role, and the leader of the House and the government. Naturally, the opposition has to be taken into confidence, and there should be some dialogue. And at the same time, as our senior panel in the panel discussion, she's a senior journalist, she said that this kind of negative news is also attracting some of the MPs. But my experience is majority of the MPs are serious about the discussion if they are getting time. But the negative MPs or negative kind of attitude, how they are getting the coverage, how the media is working on this also self-critically the media, because positive things, nowadays the media is not giving the positive news and positive discussion. That is also there, I think, as a part of my observation.
Okay, final comments from you, Dr. Dias. Yeah.
See, in this context, I must remind my colleagues that 1.5 years back, in the meeting of the speakers under the leadership of Srimati Meera Kumar, conducted in Delhi, I think so, that they have made a suggestion. They have decided, and there was a big discussion going on there, elaborate discussion, and in that she requested, the speakers forum discussed this matter, and they made a report. And they requested.
In fact, this happens every time we start with a particular session. There is an all-party meeting telling the parties that let's have a fruitful session, but it never really happens.
Especially about question hour.
Okay, especially during question hour. Completely out of time.
Question shouldn't be disturbed. As Professor Roy has rightly pointed out.
Should oppose, but be constructive. The government should be sensitive and responsive.
The Speaker should make better effort to run the House so that he or she means business.
Okay, completely out of time. Thank you very much, Mr. Dias, Mr. Balgopal, Professor Roy, and Ms. Nagi for joining us in this program. And that's all we have for you in this edition of Public Forum. Thank you very much for watching. Namaskar.